tweet in who would play what in the celebrity school of Siege. Let me and Tim know. Hashtag BR6 at Jackie Esports at Ace of Pyrite on Twitter. Oh, it seems like actually we do have one tweet that has already come through. I've just been told by a little producer Simon in my ear. Gotta love coding whilst listening to Ace of Pyrite and Jackie Esports. Oh, there you go, Tim. Look, you know, we're keeping people entertained. That's what it's all about.
You're too kind to me. Too kind.
Oh, that's nice. See, coding. that's what you're doing. You're doing computer studies, Tim.
I'd be down for that. I've no problem with that. I used to enjoy. I didn't do any because I mean, obviously it's different around the world, but in the UK there's like a difference, or there was at least when I was at school, between IT and computing. So computing was the more coding side of things. Yeah. IT was sort of your software and you know, user interface, that sort of side of things. And I did a lot of IT stuff. I didn't do any coding though.
Oh, mate, nah. When I was in school, there was no coding. ICT lessons were literally, I remember we used to go in there, half the time I'd sit on MS Paint and I'd draw loads of squiggly lines and then just colour it in with the fill all tool with different colour.
We've all been there, Jacket. We've all got a masterpiece hung on the fridge that looks just like that.
Oh, you know it. I think here's the thing, though. Producer Simon would be like the ICT teacher, but he's like the really cool one that secretly loads up Doom in the corner, and he's just like, here, look, don't tell anyone else.
Anything. Yeah. I had to get this through the firewall.
Yeah, right, look, don't say anything. I've set up a LAN. You got 15 minutes, lads.
Go wild. I'll lock the door. I'll see you in 15.
All right, then, here we go. It won't be a 15-minute wait for this bad boy to kick off as we are going in. We're starting our matchup between W7M and INTZ. Let's see who is going to be schooled and who will be the professor in this matchup. As we go over to Cafe. Cafe, it looks a bit like a school when you think about it, Tim. Quite a big building.
Well, I mean, you know, I've got to say, Jackie, apart from the library, I think that's where the comparison begins and ends. I don't know what school you went to, but I certainly didn't have any train carriages inside that school, as, you know, if we're just looking for the sort of quick pointers. And I definitely don't think a bar and cocktail room is a good idea.
Oh, mate. Yeah, to be fair, you're probably right. Oh, well. I tried. Anyway, here we go. First round's coming up now. Let's get into this one. This actually should be a really banging game, guys, by the way. For anyone joining us that is a little bit out of the loop with LATAM, I don't blame you, but definitely keep coming back because you have been missing out on some banging Rainbow Six. If you're a fan of what goes down in the professional scene, you will want to start watching these games. You're going to see a lot of aggression, a lot of confidence, and some big aimers. One of the key takeaways from Brazilian Siege is the level of aim capability that is shared across the scene, Tim. All 10 of these teams have some worldwide aimers in, and I feel like we're going to see that, specifically from the side of W7M coming out on their attack. That's what I'm going to be looking at. Your main man, Herds, he can pop off on the Ash.
Oh, there's some ludicrous talent in LATAM as a whole. Like you say, even the teams that, you know, viewers, as you say, if you're a little bit new to LATAM, might not have heard of before. Coming in W7M, you might be wondering who they are, but they are absolute stone cold gutters. That is the absolute minimum requirement for a team in LATAM. You've got to be able to hit your shots. If your aim is not on, you're going to get destroyed, because remember, you've got to go up against players like Palu, you've got to go up against players like Cyber Bullet, and it won't take a second look at you. Muzi the Human Uzi, he will come in dropping bullets left, right and centre, and he will find you out if you can't hit your shots. So these two teams are absolutely nothing short of that benchmark, and you'll see that as this one plays out. But for anybody who thought that MIBR and NIP was the big game of the day, and it was our choice for Goyo game of the day, of course, but this one was a close second, because we know we're on the inside, we're in the know, Jackie, and we know this is going to be a big one.
Oh, mate, this is going to be a hell of a game, and this could be a hell of a play from Freezow. Not going to be freezing, but instead going to be trying to go fast as he sprints up with a shield down, looking for an early frag. The 1v1 versus the Wamai, but he's knocked, slapped in the face. The blade comes out, and the shield goes up, and so does the chances of them winning the round, as it's a 4 versus 2. VNX on the Hurty-Verty. Oh. Hello. Peeling off scalps as he takes down Padrin. And we're back into a reasonable position now, Tim. 60 seconds left in a 2 versus 3. There is a chance here for either of these sides to pick this one up. VNX, we know how damn good he's been performing lately. Backing up, trying to get into a better angle. Drone still in the back pockets of W7M, so they don't have to face check anything, but they do have to go a little bit sharpish. They've only got 45 seconds left to make this clutch work.
Drunk's holding an angle from pillars. He's got the Alder in hand and can certainly slay 1 or 2 in very quick succession. That's the first going down. That's Guy off the board, and that levels things up, squares them away. Was 4v2, now 2v4. Herds gets the kill onto VNX, 2v1 I should say, sorry, as he comes in with the big kill. Panico shuts it down. W7M, despite a little blip there towards the end of things as it was leveled out 2v2. They managed to come through, clutch up that first round and get it closed down and put on the board. That's going to be a good start for W7M on the attack.
It's a great way to start off the game. W7M coming out strong, swinging at that one as they windmill their way through the initial matchup. Now we see if they can maintain, or if there will be a bit of a bite back from the defensive side. We did have a replay from that initial round as well that we can take a look at. What was sticking out? Oh, the play from VNX. That was really nice. The connection there onto the headshot, playing with a vertical angle, and the pixel peak on that. His nose must literally be inside the monitor.
That's absolutely beautiful, that shot. No two ways about it. Hitting that through the doorway like that with the Alder. You know, sit down. That's a good night if ever I saw one. You couldn't have even complained if the good night found its way into the chat there. That was a special shot.
Oh, it would just fall off the keyboard. Like succulent chicken from the bone. You ain't even got to type it. It's just ready. It just plops itself out. Little GN in chat.
So heading into round number 2 then, will it be a good night once again for INTZ, or will they be able to fight their way into this one immediately and level things up? I'm sure that is what they are going to be looking for. They are defending down on the kitchen site, and they are applying plenty of utility to that mid floor. So they're going to be trying to hold on to that, particularly the train and mining wheel area, so they can hold some angles down above the default plant spot. They're also going to want to prevent too much access into dining, because there is, of course, the option to open up the hatch in that room. It drops directly into the freezer, and from there you can try to put the defensive side on ice. You can try to clear it out with a nice default plant spot just inside of coffee. Now, those are the moments you got to be really careful of. I'd love to sell that as, you know, absolute top tier teamwork there, Jackie, but I'm not sure that the space in between him shooting shots was exactly the moment that he expected his teammate to run in front of him.
Yeah, could have been a bit risky. We've definitely seen that happen in Ranked Together, Tim, so luckily it was avoided here, mate. Hopefully that will be the end of the risky business. Out the business though in the round, what is going to happen for W7M already? Making moves. Herds, he got 2 frags into the opener. Can he get himself another 2 on the entry? I did want to give him that little bit of limelight in the preface before we came in, because he is a damn good talent. As an entry fragger, he's a bit of a machine. He will rip heads off left, right and centre. Very confident when he's on the Ash. Can he start to raise the roof in the round? Freezow's the first to get contact as he eliminates Duds, putting them into a 4 versus 5 already. Herds has control towards the stairway, spots out one of the Banshees. They do have a read onto exactly what is going down so far. There's no real response from INTZ. They're not closely grouped up. They're playing very isolated here. So divvied up, spread quite thin. They're not in a position to try and trade back off the frag from Dud, Tim, so they're going to leave themselves in a 4 versus 5 with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, with effectively all of the map control in the hands of W7M.
You're absolutely right to pick up on Herds, Jackie, particularly on the entry, but also across the board. He's been a big part of the success of this W7M team so far. You see a man just getting himself wedged inside of the train car there, shut down by Padrin to leave us now 5 versus 3. But coming back to Herds, 13 and 11, he finds himself on the at present, but more impressively 62 kills on the season so far with an 82% headshot rating, Jackie, and that just plays back in nicely to that picture we were painting at the beginning of this one of just how good the aim and mechanical skill level is in LATAM. And like I say, Herds 82% headshots across 62 kills. That is something special.
Dude, it's crazy. Absolutely miraculous that he's able to rip off that many heads. INTZ not ahead of the curve into this round, but Vitz is able to pick himself up a lovely little frag. There's a response as well from Drunks. Up close and personal. And just like that, a round that was firmly in the palm of W7M. They've had their hands chopped off by the defensive side of INTZ, and it's all down to Guy in a 1 versus 3 as he runs around the stairwell, takes the first peek onto Alamau. He will be choked out 1v2 Tim, no real time to push onto the site. He'd have to go for the frags. He gets himself the first. Stay in cover, Vitch. You don't have to peek it. He gave him a fighting chance by firing back onto him. He knew the Banshee was there, so he would have been slown onto the face, but it's far too risky to peek when you've got 3 seconds left. Oh, cutting it close, Tim, but they will get the round as it goes 1-1.
They won't mind ultimately how they get it there, so long as that one goes up on the scoreboard. But as you say, they can't push their luck too many times like that, because W7M are a team that will take full advantage of those opportunities if presented too often. They got away with it this time, but they won't continue to forever. Guy doing a great job there in the late round, starting things off with this nice wall bang that we see, and then got himself one on the long range, and as you say, it just all came down to it. But ultimately, they were able to get it over the line, and that sees them heading into round number 3 now. So for a defensive site in round 3, we will see them go up to that top floor. It's been reading room followed by kitchen so far. This time it will be bar and cocktail. Now then, for the hold on the top floor, particular areas of importance tend to be where we see duds at the minute. So down just outside, that room's called washroom. And then the spot just to the left of it, where he is right now, we tend to refer to that as pixel. If you hear us call him pixel, that is what we're talking about. And holding on to that area is particularly important. Quite often we'll see the ADSs there. We'll see probably a Lemo come in on the Wamai. He'll get his deployable shield down there. He's going to use his magnet, so it looks like we've got a Goyo on the board. VNX will put one of his Volcan shields there. Any shield will do, just to try and give some protection. And you're going to play that washroom and that corner just to try and delay the attackers getting into the piano room, which is normally going to be their number 2 step. They're going to drop at the top of red stairs. That's step 1. Push into cigar, part of step 1, and then get control of piano. So that's what he is aiming to do here. The question always is, how long can they hold them at bay for?
Two minutes and 30 on the clock. Bit of a slower round coming out so far. Obviously very early draws, but we're not seeing that initial aggression from W7M. They were fast to the flames multiple times now, with Herds charging in literally from the starting pistol, where he'd get himself into a position to roam around, clear out level by level. This time they're grouped up a bit more, and they're going to be taking in their execute together, clearing out those lower levels slowly. Good play from Freezao as well. It's looking nice so far. We've only just reached the 2-minute mark. Guy seems to be getting some work done on the Nomad, as he'll try and deny the rotation points. So if you do run past, you're going to be air jabbed out of the stratosphere. He's used one of them, still one left in reserve. And I'm going to be keen to keep an eye on Guy as well, mate. He was the major key into that last round. They almost gave it to him with the amount of peaks that he was taking, but he's hitting heads. He looks like he is on the ball tonight, and that is a great position to be in. If Guy's up there, if you've got Herds playing well, there's a huge trifactor that could be forming for W7M into these rounds. Panico's really risking it with the early face towards the broken reinforcement there in the window, Tim. He's getting close to comfort.
Certainly not scared, is he? We saw that Repel taking advantage of a number of times in the last matchup between MIBR and NIP, with jump outs coming along and just taking people down, but nobody will take Panico down. Quite the opposite, in fact, as he will remove Drunks from the round, and that is the smoke gone. 3 Toxic Babe canisters along with him, and that is a lot of utility lost for the defenders. 5 versus 4, and W7M start to mount the pressure towards the east side. So they've largely forgone that piano control this time around, instead opting to push from the east side. It's not always as easy, and we have an absolute bloodbath ensuing. Kills raining in both directions. We find ourselves 2 versus 1. It's Vitz. He's up against Guy and Padrin now. Everything will slow down. No! Padrin shuts down Vitz. Just about to comment how it was slowing down as he moved through the freezer, searching for the last 2, but no, shut down in the washroom before he could get there. W7M get another round over the line.
Okay, 2-1 split so far then. W7M coming back in there early. Good spot to be in. Definitely starting to heat up the quality of the gameplay here on their attacking side. And it is going to be a bit scary. Talking of scary, we've got a bit of a fast flick here from a pixel sniffer himself. Herds, look at the reaction time there. Switching his way back over and gets himself a naughty little frag there towards stairways.
Round 4, we're heading into then at pretty breakneck speed so far. It's been all action here in W7M versus INTZ, just as we expected. We promised it at the beginning. We told you to stick around. We said you wouldn't be disappointed. And we're sure after 3 rounds that you are not. And you're on the edge of your seat ready for a real showdown between these two, because this is going to continue. It's going to be back and forward the whole way through. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, even after 3 rounds, to say I expect to see 23 or 24 out of this across 2 maps. I think we're going to go the distance. This is going to be a lot of siege to feast your eyeballs on. And this time around, Jackie, we've got a clash on the board. Wits is going to bring along the defensive shield operator. It's always a fascinating one to watch, just to see exactly where it's used. Quite often we'll see Clash used in that pixel area that I spoke about, just to try and prevent those attackers getting into the piano area and gaining any sort of control over there. We are, of course, not on a top floor site this time around. We are in reading room and dining once again. But as I commented previously, the top floor is particularly important to hold on to in this case, because that vertical control can be absolutely devastating if the attackers gain it too soon.
On the clash, defending towards the windowsill. Ooh, feels like timing could have been a little bit off there. I thought his back was exposed as we see the push coming in. Luckily, they do get starved off for a few seconds. So he isn't just shot in the back of the head and left lifeless on the ground. He'll still be alive and kicking towards the late round. He's critical to be up at that point as well. 6 frags already. He was performing really well when we've seen him over the course of stage 2. He's been hitting his shots. He's been good for clutches. And on a clash, you can do so much if you're alive in the last few seconds when the diffuser is attempting to go down, or even on a retake. The shield's such a nuisance maker. You can isolate 1v1s. You can make it almost impossible to win some rounds. Talking of impossible plays, Gee, he's waiting. He's hoping to see someone come towards his window. The player that will seal the opening frag is going to be Alamal with a shotgun, taking the peek on Panico, unloading with Big Papa Pump, and getting himself the first frag of round 4.
Puts down the sledge. It was Panico who opened up the account first of all for W7M in round 3, but he will, before it, find himself on the flip side this time around, put in the dirt. Gee will get one onto Duds to square things away. 4 versus 4, 1 minute 20 left on the clock, halfway through the round. W7M, they need to get themselves moving here, need to start getting themselves an advantage. How many times are we going to see that today, Jackie? People walking up those stairs completely unaware that defenders are allowed to play on the stairs, and yet another shotgun kill coming in for a Lemo on the round. That's going to be Gee falling by the wayside, and an absolute freebie for Frizo as he moves down those white stairs. That is really the action station at the minute. That is round 0 for all of these deaths heading in. It's just all focusing around those white stairs. We have another battle there as Wits, it will be, finishes off Frizo as he dances up and down those stairs and just uses the height advantage ultimately to close that battle out. 30 seconds left to go. 3 versus 2.
All right. BNX waiting on close contact, playing off his teammate, and gets an easy frag for free. There's no real response that can be done by Padrim, but he will get 1 frag. Throws the clip in the AK and slays from far away, but can he keep it up? Is it going to be a good day? No. Put the bed as he's dropped down to the DECK. Fragged out by Alamal with the SMG in close proximity there, watching the doorway. The round will go over to INTZ, keeping the game close as it physically can be at this point. Looking damn good as well. 2-2 split so far then.
We're not seeing many plant attempts today, really, are we? It's all coming down to absolute bloodbaths today. It's just a brawl. It's just punch after punch, landing, being thrown. There is absolutely no stopping these teams, and that goes for MIBR versus NIP as well. It's just been an absolute sort of death central with kills raining in left, right, and centre. Now, heading into round number 5, we are going to be heading back up to that top floor. It's going to be bar and cocktail. So, interestingly, the attack last time around, generally speaking, as I suggested, we expect to see it coming in from the red stairs, cigar, and into piano. Now, we saw a little bit of attention towards cigar, but not very much at all. There's certainly usually more. What we saw was a lot being applied to east side, which is interesting because the defense often focuses on the east side. So trying to disrupt that is often a good idea, and that's what they did very well, but I don't think W7M will get away with it again.
Oh, mate, talking of teaching them a lesson in game, Tim, it seems that actually we did get a full breakdown coming in from Sash on Twitter. R6 EU/LATAM casters as teachers. You've got Asa Pyrite on English, Big Man Milosh as the history teacher. They've gone for Dez as geography, Hap with maths. I'm apparently the art teacher. Jess is over on PE. Dev with IT, Geo on graphic design and 3D design. Finally, Big Man Fluke, of course, on drama.
I think they might have nailed it there. I think, you know, I'll take English in a world where Des is teaching geography. I think, you know, we could probably be quite a powerful team there between the old sort of language and, I don't even, what's the department called for geography? They usually fall in with, do they fall in with like history? Is it humanities?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was just geography. Isn't it just its own thing?
Well, no, they're usually like in departments in schools, aren't they? Was that just my school? I don't know.
I don't know, mate. Ooh, hang on. I'll tell you who's departed from the round. Duds. Gunned down by Herds on the close contact there. Just overpowered by the early peek coming around from Ash. And already that's an opening frag. Nice stuff so far. As we're down to about 2 minutes left on the round here then. A 5 versus 4. Let's see where this will go from here as this round starts to tick down. Ooh, freeze out! That peak's outrageous, Tim!
He's just making it work, Jackie, one way or another. It doesn't matter how outrageous it is when it gets the kill, when it puts the man in the dirt. That is all that you are looking for. And freeze out, he will put Vitz on ice with an unbelievable shot there. 5 versus 3, W7M fighting back strong. And this game is going to go on like this. It is back and forward. Each round kills rain in either direction. We have no idea which way it's going to land, but this one certainly looks to be going in the favour of W7M. Herds, he just slams Drunks into the wall and takes him out of play. And right now, this is a big ask for Ints, VNX, Alemo. They are on full health. They do have some utility in the shape of those Toxic Babe canisters. 2 left on the belt of Alemo. Needs to keep himself alive so that he can use them. But importantly, Freeze out. He's able to get in underneath on the book, use the skeleton key, and come and knock him from below. And that will make things twice as difficult now for the defenders. They were trying to use the long angles from the east balcony, but they are going to be pushed if they continue to try to do so. Padrin shuts down Alemo, and that leaves VNX all alone. 1 versus 4. This would have to be an ace. Ski shuts him down before he can even make an attempt towards it, and that's going to be another round going to W7M. 3-2 on the scoreboard now. We are rocketing towards a split half 3-all here.
Man, 3-2 games looking ridiculously good so far for W7M and some of the rounds that they're racking up at this point. You're getting a good lead to work with. It's keeping it close. It's looking manageable. Some of the flicks that are being found as well would make you say frick. I mean, freeze out on that peak, Tim. That is crazy. That's a mind-boggling shot to hit. Prepared for it straight from the doorway up to the ceiling, ripping his way through the cranium. Going for a bit of a 6-pack into this round as well. Off the Zofia, onto the Buck. There's a bit of a cheeky move to make to try and keep them guessing. Final round of the half then. If you want to bring this back, you want to get it as a 3-3 split on the scoreline, it's doable. Int certainly can live up to that mark, and I think Vitz is by far the biggest performer, Tim. 7-3. He is going huge right now with the way he's playing it, but they need to get this round. It's not just about him performing, right? If the rest of the team isn't stepping up around him, Tim, it's not going to matter. They need to come to his level now going into round 6.
Absolutely, and this is what we've said about Ints continually. Vitz and Alemo are getting to a point where they've found that consistency and can be relied upon. We can see that 11 frags between the two of them. They are doing work, but it's just about getting everybody at the same time firing, and unfortunately, I'm not one to name names, as you know, but I am looking towards Duds at the minute. He's on 0 for 5. He's having a tough day of it, and he is generally coming in as that sort of Ash Jaeger main. You're expecting frags from him. They are the operators that he plays primarily. A little bit of alibi thrown in, the odd Valkyrie Mozzie, but generally speaking, he's going to be taking those big frag operators. And today, he's just struggling to find his feet. And somebody like that stepping up, that could be the big difference. He could be the difference maker, Jackie. He could come in here and give Ints that extra round or two that they need to just find some breathing space here.
And they need to take a big, deep breath into this round, because it is falling away from them very quickly. 3-2 split here we go. As we are back into the mix. Int, what's your play going to be? Is there a level of aggression that will be thrown out? Talking of aggression! Oh, Hurts sat on the sofa with a stone cold stunning attack from the rear. Shuts down the alibi. You ain't got no alibi, Ints. She's dead.
Herds onto Duds, and as I said, he's having a tough day. He gets taken out as the opening death, and that is certainly not going to help his team in the slightest. 4 versus 3 now as VNX manages to get in and take down the big man of Herds. He's already starting to run over them like a herd at this point, but he's slowed down at least for the time being. Guy, however, steps up. Once again, having a good game. He is so solid. VNX with a beautiful quick peek there onto Freezow, though. Takes the head off the man. And 3 versus 2. Every round is so close here on Cafe. Out comes the explosives. Unsuccessfully blows up in the face of Guy. Does a small amount of damage, but it doesn't damage his vision as he hits from one balcony to another and takes down VNX. Drunks comes out swinging with the shotgun, though, and he will put Guy into an early grave there. We find ourselves 2 versus 1. Diffuser going down for the first time today, I think, successfully planted. That's going to be Padrin on the ace, who managed to get into sight. We are downstairs on Kitchen. You could be forgiven for getting for that fact, given that all the battle has taken place on the mid-floor, but Panico, he finds Drunks just trying to rotate back to sight on the half staircase. Closes him down. Nice easy shot for him, and that's going to be the round going to W7M.
Unfortunately, VNX dropping out there on the side switch. I imagine we'll probably just go for a quick rehost on this one and then get him back in so this can carry on. But before that, though, we do have some replays prepared for you. So we should have a nice little bit of a look back before we start to look forward to what is going to be coming up in the rest of this game. Obviously, from the side switch, Tim, this is looking pretty competitive. But there is a bit of an edge in my mind for W7M now. It just feels like they're in the right place, right time, over and over again.
Very much so, and it's another one of those interesting matchups because obviously we've seen Ints come out and have a great game against Team Liquid yesterday, and then they come in and are now struggling against W7M, who have got themselves 4-2 on the half and a bit of an advantage. I wouldn't be surprised to see that flipped on its head and reversed coming into the next half and Ints to get themselves running on the attack. But as it stands, W7M just making a really good shout for the breadth and depth of the quality that we are finding inside of LATAM. Let's not forget that W7M coming into today were in one of the top 4 major spots as well. They are a team that many won't have heard of, but that are surprising. They've done a lot of work in the break and they are coming back strong. For me, they are really showing that they are the sort of the typical new team that comes in, develops, and goes from strength to strength. And that is what they're showing us. They've taken the lessons that they learned in Stage 1, they've applied them, and they are looking red hot in Stage 2.
Oh, dude, W7M look like a breeding ground for talent right now. Like, it just seems better every time we see them play, Tim. The consistency, some of the cheeky positions they get into as well. It's all there. They hit their shots as well. That's one of the things that even in this game, we haven't really had too much of a chance to look at. There's been a few instances of, oh, just hit my mic, I was so excited, of like them just wilding out Tim with some crazy shots, right? But normally we see even more from them. They do just frag out hard. They can be mad fraggers at the best of times. And I'm glad we're seeing that side to them, at least here today. There's more to come as well, right? It's still the first map, and this one's starting to fly by.
It certainly is, and we're going to fly back into it any minute now, so don't go anywhere. We're getting the players back into the lobby. We're just in a quick rehost. Anybody who's just joined us at a very inopportune moment, I'm sure you've come along to hear me and Jackie just sort of chewing the fat and bantering away. Why would you not?
You know exactly why they've come here, Tim, and let's be honest.
They know what's going on.
They've waited specifically until
the notifications come.
Oh, yeah, it's popped up, and they've gone, hang on a minute, you telling me that LATAM's live, and it's a rehost? Is there riddles afoot? And I'll tell you what, Tim, they'd be right. Are you ready for your first rehost riddle of the day, mate?
I am. I did well yesterday, and I'm hoping to follow that up, because I'm 5 for 5 now, so if I can get this one, it at least puts me into that positive KD area on the riddles.
All right, well, let's give it a go. Let's see if you can drop yourself a posse bomb off the back of getting this one correct. Tim, when it's alive, we sing. When it's dead, we clap our hands. What is it?
When it's alive, we sing. When it's dead, we clap our hands. Right, so I'm thinking theatrical at this point, Jackie.
Yeah. Like a stage show type situation?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're in that sort of wheelhouse.
Okay.
You know, something like a hymn or music or something like that. But I don't know if I'm being sort of led a bit directly there with the use of the word sing. But we clap our hands when it's dead. So it's alive, we sing. See, we sing. So it is suggesting a definite song. When it's alive, we sing. I'm not too sure on this one, Jackie. I think you might have bested me here.
You struggling on this one, Tim? You're not quite getting there. You're not feeling it.
It's not gone straight into my logic box. Let's say that. You know, it's rattling round there at the minute, and
the gears are turning, but
the gears are turning. Mate, overdrive.
There's a screwdriver in there. It's not quite.
Absolutely on overdrive at the minute. There's a guy in blue overalls. He's just running around. He doesn't know what's going on. There's pressure gauges going off left, right, and centre. It's all going wrong at the minute. When it's alive, we sing. When it is dead, we clap our hands.
Yeah. What is it?
Don't think I'm getting that one, Jackie.
No? All right.
Hit me with it.
It's unfortunate, mate. Could have taken you over the mark. You would have been positive in your
so
rehost riddle scoreline. Unfortunately, the answer is a birthday candle.
A birthday candle.
There you go.
You're right. You're right.
Makes sense, right?
You're right, Jackie.
I know.
I wouldn't. The thing is, I'm happy with that answer because I don't think I'd have got it.
No, was it not there? Is it not the sort of route you'd go down?
I just wasn't going down that road at all. So no, I don't. And that's a shame, really, because birthday, I should have thought about that. You know, I should have been going down that road with the singing, but it wasn't for me today. 5-6 now. 5-6.
That is rough, Tim.
I just want to finish positive at the end of the season. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, well, you know, you can always come back, mate. There'll always be a second half, Tim. There's always more rehost riddles to go, and there always is going to be a second half for this game as well. So it looks like we've got 10 players back in the lobby. So hopefully it shouldn't take too long until we delve back into this. Of course, we're returning at the second half of the matchup between W7M and INTZ, Tim.
Which way is it going to go? 4-2, we currently stand to W7M, and they've looked sharp so far, but we haven't seen them on the defense yet. The sides are flipping now as we get back into the server in any second. Can they continue that momentum? They've been doing well in the openers so far. Herds has had the opening kill in the last couple of rounds. Duds is really struggling today. I think he's still on 0 kills, and he's been the opening death in round 5 and round 6. So right now, INTZ, one way or another, they need to be having a chat with Duds in this little bit of downtime they've got, and they need to be pepping him up. They need to be, you know, figuring out exactly what's going on. How can we get him into the game? Does he need a change of position? Is there anything we can do to support him? Because if they can get Duds firing, it could well be the difference, and it could bring them back into it. And it's also interesting to note, sometimes we do see players that will excel on the attack and maybe not the defense. We could see, you know, that be all the impact that Duds needs.
Oh, it could be. It could be. Just a bit of a role change. Let him just hold an angle, play more as that effective sentry turret, and see if he can peel back some heads. But we're going to peel it back into the game as we carry on. Heading in now to see where this is going to go, as it is a 4-2 split. Let's find out if this is going to be a W7M victory on the defense or a comeback for INTZ on the attack.
We are about to head into round 7 then. Welcome back, everybody. We can see ourselves and our teams lining up now. We're going to have the 6 picks raining in. Frizo, he's going to switch away from the Vigil and bring the smoke, which is a reasonable idea, seeing as we are going down to kitchen, and those toxic babe canisters can be vital down there. Drunks, he switches off the Maverick and decides to bring along the Ace, so he's going to be using those Selma devices at a distance to try and get the walls open. Generally speaking, it's going to be the double wall to the left of your screen there, just between bakery and kitchen, where Panico is now, just inside the grills. I think there's sushi cooking on the side there. Any fans of sushi? But I think it's just a nice opportunity to highlight that. Generally speaking, is the default plant spot there ideally, or sort of anywhere around there, so you try to reach that wall and get in now. Interestingly, I think the rotation's been made, Jack, and if you remember, we saw this earlier on. It was in the last game, the MIBR versus NIP. I think it was Psycho who was shut down, so where Padrin's reinforcing now, there's a rotation been left. You can't see it because of the extractor fan that's on the ceiling, but I think a rotation has been left through that goes behind Bakery County. But you've got to be careful, because the attackers, they want to gain access through there, and we saw, I think it was Psycho, try to reinforce that about half halfway through the round. He basically played his round initially behind the bakery counter, and then when he was forced away, he was supposed to reinforce the wall behind him. But Cyber was alert to that. He dived in there and just absolutely shut him down as he tried to do it. It was a free kill all day long. So that's something they need to be careful about and make sure they're aware of. And that's a well-placed electric claw there, isn't it? I think has just covered the wall as well, I think.
Oh, mate. It was nicely executed. Let's see if that level of polish will carry over throughout everything we see in this round. Round 7. 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. 5 alive on either side. It is the first round, of course, since the side swap. We did have a little bit of a rehost. Not really a long one as well. I mean, that was only like 4 or 5 minutes, so hopefully it shouldn't affect the momentum of the game too much. If anything, it could have given Duds an opportunity to take a bit of a breather, have some water, and come back in refreshed into this round. I think that's what they need, Tim.
I think it might have just been the perfect timing, to be honest, for Duds. Like you say, it's certainly, you know, he needed something to shake his game up, and he's coming in on the Ash now. I think an entry kill would be very well timed for him, but it's not something we've really seen coming out from him consistently so far on the season. He's got a 10 across the season, but, you know, if we look at some of the bigger numbers that we find on those entry fraggers, he's not quite up to that degree just yet, but he needs to come out and have, you know, that sort of performance, get himself an entry frag or two on the board, just settle things down, gain that confidence. And right now there's a Nitro about to be tossed out. Panico thought about it left and right. He wasn't actually a million miles away from VNX there, but he just got himself onto the marble and nice and safe, so he won't even take a HP of damage for that one. But a split second sooner and it would have been his life that would have been disappearing from him now. He's looking down to hold onto the white door and white stairs there. He's not looking to allow any access through that garage and onto that freezer wall. He wants to keep that side of the site safe at least and force ints through into the bakery, make them play into that difficult, what can be a kill box. If the man moves on the flank from court check where we've seen Panico playing, he can move around. That could be a couple of cheap kills for him if that is where the ints push comes through.
Okay, 35 seconds left then, as we wait to see where the commotion will kick off from. Lifeline device being put to good use to try and give them exactly that, a lifeline into the round here for ints. They're hoping to set up a vertical angle to work with, but they're getting nothing for their time investment. And time is starting to tick away, becoming the 6th player on the clock that is fighting against them now. With 13 seconds remaining, toxic gas encompassing the entire room, you've got to go for your execution soon, but they are just being executed. Herds, a clean connection onto Vitz as his vital signs will deplete. Drunks has been downed, and Duds is incredibly low. We're left into this awkward position. With no time, no chance, ints, they defeat themselves in this round.
Certainly do, and Herds once again coming out with a great opener. And he is setting his team up round after round at this point, just in an advantageous situation. Ints, they're playing 4 versus 5 round after round. It's just doesn't seem to matter. It's been Duds in 2 of them. It's Vitz following up, and one way or another, Herds seems to find a way to get in there and get that kill taken down and give his team the advantage. And the switch of sides rather, doesn't seem to have had much of an effect here. Going on to the defense is not hurting W7M. They've managed to come out and get themselves that round 7. It puts them now 5-2 overall, and they are somewhat cruising towards a win on Cafe to start off the day.
I mean, W7M, they're making this just like easy mode at this point. They're walking away with these rounds very cleanly. They didn't really have to do much in that prior round because ints, yeah, I see the thought process behind it. I see what you're trying to go for, but you leave it so late. You go for the execution with no real time, no real chance, nothing that set you up into the round either. You just run the gauntlet with no time left and get annihilated because of it. Man, it's rough. It really is rough. 5-2 then. Let's see if hopefully they can adapt off the back of that. We need a bit more confidence. Normally, that is something that applies to ints. We've seen them being able to go toe-to-toe with the best and the brightest in the past, Tim. But in that first round, there was literally 3 kills. 2 of them in favor of ints. 1 of them on Herds. And of course, W7M still won the round. So eyebrows raised firmly.
Ints need A bit of aggression at the beginning of the round, I think, here. They need to come out and get an opening frag. They can't leave themselves at 4 versus 5 once again inside the first minute. It really is hurting them at this point in time, and we haven't seen too much aggression from them, but there it is. VNX, he knows what's needed. He steps up on the sledge, and he will take down Freeze Out on the mute. That is a Nitro gone with him as well, so a great start. It's not the end of the world for the defenders. Those mute jammers will be out and in position, so the majority of his primary utility has been used, but you can't deny the power of the Nitro to really shape a round. And that is something now that INTZ at least have to worry a little bit less about. There is still, of course, Malusi and Padrin that have the potential to have a Nitro in the pocket. I'm not sure if they've brought them along or not, but it is at least one less for INTZ to worry about.
Lovely bit of music to get us ready for this round as we'll conduct our way back into round 8. 1 minute and 35 seconds on the clock on this one, and again it's looking rather classical from INTZ. You've got yourself a first pick, but you haven't reacted off the back of it. Bit by bit though, they're starting to push further forward. They need to gain some map control, because if they don't, they could be backstabbed, especially by a man like Panico. On the roam, doesn't actually have the Nitro. Instead brought along Doe for the impact, so he's got those as a little bit of a trick up his sleeve. We'll see if that'll help them out to maybe open up some angles, to cause some havoc in the dying moments of this one, or there could have been a better play to have that Nitro in the back pocket. VNX, look at this, finding the foot! He's made it much cheaper for Vedrin to go shoe shopping as he's blown off his right foot on the drop down through the drone hole. That is a sick way to get this round even further in their midst. But there is a bit of a bite back. Guy with 1 onto VNX. Alamau will trade it, and you've now got 45 seconds in a 4 versus 1. It's all on Herds. Can he somehow get them to follow him to a winning position for W7M? Through the doorway, they bait him out. He doesn't fire back, and he gets backstabbed by Drunks. INTZ, much better that time, Tim.
Herds just a little bit slow on the uptake on the door there, just missed his shots on the Zafir, and it didn't really matter. Drunks was moving in from the opposite angle and he was shut down anyway, found himself in a tight pinch there. But much better, as you say, Jackie, from INTZ. They were clinical, and glad to see Duds starting to get himself running. We never like to see anybody having a tough day, and Duds getting a couple of kills under his belt is going to be a big help for him to start raising that level of confidence and maybe getting himself into the game. And is any surprise, Jackie, that after INTZ come in with the opening kill, they don't play 4v5 and they manage to get around on the board? It tells you everything you need to know, and that is something that INTZ need to take on board there. Now, they are not a million miles behind here. 5-3 on the scoreboard. This is more than doable. There is no mistakes left if they want to take this as a win. But even dropping 1 round, closing out a draw on Cafe wouldn't be the end of the world. They get themselves into the second map then, and they can start fighting on Oregon to try and secure themselves 2 points, which would still be a great win against W7M, who are in those major spots and who INTZ will be competing with directly come the end of the season potentially. So INTZ, they've just got to knuckle down here. They've got to do the hard yards and try and get themselves back into this 1 round at a time.
Reinforcements going up. Padrin doing a bit of force there, using the midichlorians in his bloodstream for that one. And Tim, round 9. This is certainly going to be an important part of the outcome of this. Oh, Herds. A bit too tall for that, Tim. They've designed that for a 5-foot man, for someone of your stature. Unfortunately, he's a little bit over the mark. It's like when you go to a theme park, but the reverse of being too short for a ride.
Not a problem that I've ever faced, Jackie. But also, I've never found myself too short for a ride at a theme park. I'm really not that small. I'm really not. I'm really not in those realms. I'm not at sort of child height level.
I mean, well, here's the thing. I don't want to reveal this on stream and get Face It in trouble, Tim. But the reason why we haven't actually been able to move into the studio for our English LATAM broadcasts is they're currently investing money into being able to do, similar to the movie The Hobbit, in the way they made the Hobbits look smaller. Yeah, we're working on that technology to make me and Tim look the same size.
And they just can't figure it out, you know. They managed to make an entire movie full of it, but it is just too difficult a job for you and I because the difference is too great. But the difference could be too great here in this round for W7M, and that difference would be man count as Panico gets taken out of the round, and they now find themselves 4 versus 5. Another good opener for INTZ, and that is what we need to see from them, coming in, taking command, taking control, and they open up the castle barricade, down goes the shield, and they will force away the smoker freeze out, and they'll also force away a lot of his hit points with it. He finds himself now extremely low health, less than a bullet away from death. He's going to have to play this round extremely carefully if he wants to continue playing his part. Now, we've got a man just dipping away there. It's the Goyo of Herds, just trying to play right up in the cigar shop. That is a soft wall that looks onto red stairs, so it is possible to play in there and play an aggressive role in preventing those attackers from moving in from that location. But he decides to dip away, and we have a bit of a lull. We had a spell where we had a couple of kills there, and the team's coming together, but they've both backed off a little bit. And Guy, he's in good position here. He's got 50 seconds left to go, and he's managed to maintain his shield in pixel for the time being. So that really needs to be moved, does that Volcan shield. Otherwise, it is going to completely prevent INTZ from moving into piano.
Selma devices going down. Wall also going down. 30 seconds left. His time is getting away rather rapidly. But Drunks won't get away from Guy as he hits his mark, takes down his target, and secures them another frag, putting it now in a 4 versus 3. Scratch that 3v3 as Vitz with the AK coming in from the top rope as he'll elbow drop onto Padrin and make this round look a little bit more like a Royal Rumble as he's royally doing damage to him. Slaughter 2 so far with the Kalashnikov and dropping himself into this position to keep on biting down. VNX gets 1, but Vitz will clean up with the AK, decimating everyone into the round. The Nomad goes mental.
Another essential kill from VNX there, taking down the, I think it was Herds on the Goyo. Just as he got that nitro toss out, there was pings everywhere, so he knew exactly where the attackers were, and he just launched that nitro around the corner, put the big arm behind it, gave it the big guns, out it went, but was shut down, was taken out of the round before he could hit that detonator, and that was absolutely essential for VNX to hit that kill. Now, we're just seeing a replay there. What a beautiful kill. It shows exactly why that pixel corner and the shield and that play is so important, because you can get kills, you can hold down piano single-handedly for an awfully long time, and Guy showing a great mastery of that angle there. That I can't stress how difficult that kill is. You know, you look at that and you think, yeah, he's just peeked around the edge of his shield, but when you look either through the peak holes on those shields, and it's a bit more difficult with the Goyo shields, but looking around the edge of the shield like that, if you think about it, you've got the frame of the wall just to the left of you, so that's just like solid brown wood there, and then you've got the shield in front of you, and all you're really seeing is a couple of pixels wide strip of different colours. It's difficult even to assign those colours to exactly what they are, to think, right, that, you know, that dark brown is the chair, and then where it goes a little bit lighter is the wall, and it's difficult to do that. So seeing those change colour and knowing exactly where that man is located to make that challenge and to see him moving in, it's very, very difficult. It's a really nice kill from him.
Prowess, small nuances that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking at and trying to apply to their games going forward. Some of the stuff we've seen tonight has been luscious. Will that be maintained here now, though, into round 10? 5 on 4 in terms of the split of the scoreline. It's been close. It's been competitive. Now we're in a bit of a rocky position. We'll see where it goes. Early on, obviously repelling their way back up as they make their moves up towards the skylight. We'll begin to take control bit by bit. INTZ, they've got to be on the ball here. Duds has to maintain this newfound form as well. He's got 2 frags now. He's looking a little bit better in terms of being able to clean up and actually get those entry frags to play with Tim. It was underwhelming on his initial half back on defense, but he's come out of his shell an awful lot more, putting a lot of pressure on, attempting to take that hatch down, of course, with a breaching charge going out, so they'll clear it through and they can push in. Luckily, there's no one lurking beneath, trying to do the MIBR play with a C4 straight in your nostrils.
Man in the train there, just making aggressive progress in towards site here. INTZ, they've got 2 on that mid floor looking to push in. Wits is going to get a kill, and that's exactly where it comes from. No, it's not. It's VNX down there, sorry, with Drunks. Wits, he manages to open things up on the Nomad. He will get the Jaeger of Kadrin taken off the board, and you know, I commented a few rounds ago, Jackie, that they needed to see more of those opening kills, and that is exactly what they've had, and they haven't lost a round since. They were just struggling to play from that man disadvantage round after round, but absolutely not anymore. They are coming in aggressive and strong, and they are taking names right now, shutting down W7M at every single turn. They're about to level things up here. 5 versus 3 attacking onto Reading, and W7M, they are certainly on the ropes. They are being challenged, and they are being pushed around at this point. The ring belongs to INTZ, and they are just jabbing at W7M, and quite soon there's going to be a big haymaker coming to try and knock them out.
Shots coming in from the rooftops. We'll see if someone is going to be dropped off, or if they will be able to at least stay alive and starve off this interaction. Panico looking through the rotate hole, instead tries to switch to the Nitro, but he's been sniffed out, gunned down, and paid the price because of it. That Nitro never left his hand, and he won't be leaving that room. Trapped there in the dying moments, trying to keep himself alive. The firefight from Guy as he plays Ring Around the Rosies, but he does fall down. Slain by Alamau at the end there. Wits with the final frag, of course, coming in, and that's the way the round is going to go, Tim. Cleaning that one up, and INTZ are coming back. Game is close. The game is tied. And there's potential here that they could still get, at worst, a draw out of this one. Neither team has been able to make it to that coveted 6th round. They don't have a guaranteed draw. They need 2 more to walk away with a 7-5 win. That is the only way you can win this map and get the full points from it. You have to win the next 2 rounds on the spin.
Well, I did promise you 23 or 24 rounds out of this matchup, and it looked for a little while like I might have been made a liar, but absolutely not as we go through, and we'll guarantee 12 rounds in the first map of Cafe. W7M and INTZ, they are fighting this to the absolute death right now. INTZ, they have got the last 3 rounds on the board to bring this one back from 5-2 all the way to square things up at 5-5, and they are very close to guaranteeing themselves a draw on a map that looked lost to them only a few short rounds ago. But right now, W7M, they've got to be asking questions. How exactly do we change our fortune here? And I think the answer is, again, they need to match that aggression with aggression. They need to come in here and get those opening kills that they were doing so well with in the first half when they were on the attack. We had Hurge just coming in one after another, but he has certainly been shut down since, and things have been a little bit quiet for him ever since that point.
Okay, round 11, everything tied up in a neat little package. You can either hold your peace and let this game slip away, or give it your absolute all from this point forward. A lot riding on it. INTZ, they've been building momentum. Anything's been better than that opening round of attack, and all of it has been a step in the right direction. Can they get over the finish line? Can they step over it and get themselves a 6th round here, guaranteeing at the very least a draw off the back of this first map? Or W7M, where you learn from your mistakes and be able to get a little bit more out of it. 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock, slow and steady from INTZ. Not breaking out of the ordinary. Duds is going on a bit of a roam though. He's taken the top floor control and clearing out, finds the first mute jammer, and the trail is hot. He's trying to sniff out anyone he can find from W7M to net an early entry frag in favor of INTZ.
He's playing in behind that bar, down on the bottom floor. We've seen that location be important once or twice before, particularly back in Stage 1. We saw attacks basically completely shut down from there, but we haven't seen too much joy with it so far in this stage, nor have we seen too many defenders stationed around there, really. Generally speaking, you have somebody in behind that bar to try and prevent the attack onto the back of the man who is playing inside of VIP, which is, we saw Guy in that position earlier, I think it was, just trying to hold down the angle onto white stairs. It's something that you've got to be careful of. You don't want to see people pushing in through the white door, white stairs, applying pressure to that freezer side, but you need somebody behind the bar because there is the double window that the attackers can move in through and just challenge directly into VIP. So that's the plan there, but if INTZ, they just forgo that area and they decide to take the mid-floor control and then ultimately push in through Bakery, it means that a lot of Herds' round is wasted. And given that he's been struggling for kills over the last couple of rounds, it's not a bad choice from INTZ because, again, it just lets the man cool down. It just takes him out of the round, out of the map a little bit. And that's difficult for a player like Herds because he can make a real impact when he has the opportunity to.
Oh, he can. He can indeed. You know, he is really the sheepdog that will round up every single last pit of the round and make sure it's where it needs to be. Duds, though, could be the one to do some damage here. Is he going to be barking up the wrong tree, Tim, when it comes to the execution towards the stairway? Herds takes a bit of damage and is forced off. Duds walks into the close angle, giving Panico the free frag. And the fight in this round is going tremendously towards W7M. Each and every kill has been picked up by them so far. You have a 2 versus 5 now. Padrin is still alive. He can heal himself as well. We should have some of those stims to play with. And Guy, all he's got to do is sit behind this shield, peeks up with brilliant timing. There's a backstab onto Herds. But that's it. 1 frag in many. It's a consolation prize, essentially, as you can't win off the back of it. It's not going to be an impact frag. No impact whatsoever there for the side of INTZ. W7M, you've guaranteed yourself the draw. If you get one more, that's the victory, Tim. They're going to be gunning for a 7-5 now.
I think the W7M players will breathe a collective sigh of relief after getting that round onto the books because it just seemed like INTZ were going to push them to the wire and possibly beyond as they managed to claw themselves all the way back to 5-5. But it's going to be W7M who guarantee themselves a draw in round number 11 and give themselves the opportunity in round 12, of course, to close this one out with a win still. It really is difficult to call which way this goes or who deserves it because, to be honest, both teams have shown us great things. They've both had their moments and they've entertained, if nothing else, with this one coming all the way down to the wire. It's certainly been hard fought and it's difficult to say that either deserves it more than the other, but we're going to be heading back up to the top floor. That is going to be the decisive location. Now, last time around, we saw Guy able to hold on to the pixel spot when they were holding on to top floor extremely well. It was over 2 minutes. He was still getting kills and made it an absolute nuisance for INTZ to try and get into Piano. That is something that they will need to deal with quicker. They have, of course, got nades on the Sledge of VNX. They've got the soft breaching charges on the Ash of Duds. They've got the explosive grenades on the Zofia of Alemau. They have got plenty of utility. They've got smoke canisters, flashbangs, 6 of them between Nomad and Ash. They can clear out the utility. They can then use the explosives to try and get rid of that shield, but they need to do it quickly. They can't allow him to stay entrenched for as long as last time. Maybe put a man up onto the rappel with the angle, possibly the Sledge, who could nade into Washroom and just make his life even more difficult.
One round for W7M would seal them a map victory and put them in a good spot going into Oregon. But can they secure it? Next 2 minutes will be vital in proving how this is going to go down. And for INTZ, all eyes are on them. It's up to them to be the storm that overpowers the defense of W7M. Time slowly to combine to this one. No real early aggression from Duds this time. Moving away from what has otherwise been his go-to game plan of clearing out floor by floor, finding roamers, and looking to put them into an early pine box. The play from Pulse could end their Pulse, but unfortunately for him, the map geometry plaguing him a little bit there. The forearm strength not working out with the toss onto that Nitro, as it'll get stuck. Won't land where he wanted it to, and won't find the frag. Looks to back it up instead with a UMP. An evil genius of a play, but it's not going to land. Tim fires out the warning shots, but no one will be dropped.
Herds holding on to Train Room for love and money and life at the minute as he just tries to prevent that push coming in. He will be shut down surely as Vitz moves in aggressively and takes that opening kill once again. We have seen historically over a number of rounds since the half where INTZ get the opening kill, they tend to get the win on the round as well. Will this one follow suit, or will we see W7M able to buck the trend? We have headed through the mid-round. We are heading into the final minute. And right now, They still have the manpower that they need at 4 versus 4 with Guy shutting down Alemo. He's going to dip away from that fight on the white stairs, and there's no real map control so far for INTZ. They've managed to get themselves in underneath, but still not solidly so. They get the kill onto Panico, which is going to secure the mid floor for them. Drunks onto Freezo, 2 versus 4 now, and this is a lot of time left for 2 defenders to absorb up against 4 attackers. It is not going to be easy for W7M to hold on to this round. 40 seconds left to go. And INTZ, they can take their foot off the gas a little bit if they want to, but not that much.
Oh, the frag found from Drunks puts them into a risky position. A 1 versus 3 for them to try and claim this to pick up the game, but it's not doable. It will be a draw, as Drunks is quicker on the draw with the AK, finding the frag there against Guy, and ending their run, shutting it down on a 6-6 split on the first map here of Cafe. That is going to be a stalemate, Tim.
I think that's about as close a contest as we expected coming into this one. Jackie, we called it. We knew that it was going to be a big hitting game, and that is exactly what these two teams have delivered. INTZ and W7M facing off, and as yet, we have absolutely nothing to separate these two teams.